Hello, my name is Pat Jones from Waverider Boats. Now let me introduce you to our Waverider 500. One of our features with the Waverider is a fold-down windscreen. Now our windscreens are pretty much standard, clip either side, folds down nice and smoothly. And you'll see that on the top we have our anchor light and then our deck lights, forward deck lights, aft deck lights, so that everything is lit up nice and high. You haven't got lights bouncing up off the floor in your eyes. Everything is easy for while you're trying to fish of a night time. Now on this boat we have two forward hatches. One hatch actually folds forward. There's plenty of room inside here. Enough room to fit a spare tyre. And that's just the start. You get all your camping gear and everything can go in there. The flotation in our boats aren't in the middle of the boat, it's all on the outsides of the boat, which gives us right through the centre here a nice range of, a nice area there to put plenty of storage. And this one here, of course, you can see the size of that. Miles of room for a spare anchor, your floats, plenty of rope. And you can see the quality of the wells in that area there alone, just how neat and tidy this boat is. Okay, now for this area here, this is a very important work area of your boat. You've got a bollard like you wouldn't believe. Look at the size of that bollard, fully welded on there. Rod holders either side for while you're traveling or even while you're on electric motor. Everything can be put down here onto the deck. We don't need big anchor welds these days. Most of our anchoring is done by our electric motor, as in the case with this boat, but we still have a very solid bow roller system there where you can put a good sized Danforth or a plough anchor on there, no problems at all. Another major feature with our Waveriders is that in the sides here is packed full of foam. You can see how the sides come right down to here in this foredeck area here. So you can imagine right down the side, all fully lined. You've got two liners, you've got your outside skin, and then you've got your inside skin. Absolutely brilliant. This is where the safety of our Waveriders is born in not only in the performance, but in what's built into the boat, the wide reverse chine, plus these wide side decks. I mean, that's wide enough to sit on, that's nice and comfortable. And of course we have things like fuel fillers that can be put in, that all's plumbed through there, through the underfloor fuel tank. We've got rod holders that have been inserted into the sides there. Now they're drained because that's full of foam. That actually has a drain which goes down through onto the floor, straight through the foam. So it's, yeah, everything has been thought out. The naval architects have designed this boat, and this is the sort of quality that gets put into one of our Waveriders. Okay, so coming to the back area, the design of the boat is that it tapers away a little bit at the back here, just to give it some pizzazz about the boat. We have these rails which are an extension of the height of the sides. You lean up against the rails to lock you in, so even though the side deck is actually only that high there, the rail is much higher. It's about 700 mil to the high of that there. I'm 6'3", so you can see by me that I'm comfortable fishing on the back here. Another major feature with our sides with full of foam is that you can get your feet in underneath there. Look at that. You can lock yourself in underneath there. How good is that? How good is that? And of course all self-draining, so if there's any rubbish on the floor, that all gets hosed out. Straight out the back, out the scuppers. One of the things that you need on your boat in cases of emergencies, and emergencies happen when you least expect them, is your life jacket. It's just straight underneath the helm seat. Plenty of room there for half a dozen life jackets. Now the boat's plated for 5 people, up to 100 horsepower, so you can get all your safety equipment in there, and it's self-drained, so that and it's actually off the floor, so that if any water does go in there, it just drains straight out. And it also has an opportunity there for it to dry out. Great feature of the Waveriders is a 1200 high centre console. You might think 1200 high is pretty high. When you have your sounders and GPSs and everything that you're navigating by at a low position, sometimes the sun can get on it and it can be quite awkward. The higher you have it, the better angle you can have the screen at. So you can see by the size of that top of this console there's plenty of room there for sounders and GPSs. The dash is set up so that everything can be just a few screws undone. This is for a custom job, this one. The steering wheel can either be central or can come over to the side. Electronics can be probably put on this panel here as well. Then of course inside we have a storage shelf here, great place for your car keys, great place for your sunglasses and wallet and all that sort of thing, completely out of the weather. All your cables are all protected in a housing going down through the floor, and then it's channeled through more housing all the way through back to the outboard and where the batteries are. Now this is a very important feature of this Waverider. You can see that we have a hole in the floor here, and normally you'd think, oh gee, if a wave came on board, all the water would go down through that hole. Well, you're 100% correct. That's exactly what it's there for. The water is to go in underneath the floor rather than sitting on top. If it goes in underneath the floor, it actually acts as ballast. You've got your flotation either side, water in the center, the boat is stable, and that's why we can get the Waveriders through level flotation. You see the panel just behind the center console here, this panel that's all these screws and that. This is your fuel tank, your fuel cell. Now your fuel cell is separate. It is completely, it's like a tank inside a tank. It's got a poly tank, so that if there's any spillage, if there's any leakage of fuel, it remains in that void there where the fuel tank is. It doesn't come out of there. Okay, next thing I'd like to show you, just behind the fuel cell is more storage. Now this can be turned into a hatch that you lift up, the same as the forward hatches, to give you access in underneath the floor. As I said, down through the center we have our storage, because on either side we have our foam. So this is the deepest part of the boat, the most useful part. So there's another section there where bilge pumps, well there is a bilge pump on this boat, is all kept in underneath there, easily accessible. Here we have the transom area. So as you can see again, it's a continuation of the sides. We can put our feet in underneath the side, under the transom area here. And just above that, we open this hatch, and you can see the plumbing and the electrical that's coming into play here with the boat. The naval architects have brought the plumbing through to a station here. It's carried through on a cable tray. You can see the cables and everything are all nicely and neatly in position. We have our switches for different functions that they do with the batteries. And of course the batteries are on this side here. And for the sake of using a little bit of space in the side, then we can fit the things like a nice little tackle, 3-drawer tackle box tray. Okay, now we're in the blunt end. This is the end where everything goes out the back. So we want water going out the back, quality scuppers. See the size of them, plenty of water volume. If there was water in your boat, plenty would flow out through there. Deck wash, hose it all out, absolutely easy. You can see that they're spring loaded, so that when they're closed, the spring holds it closed. It's a good seal. If your floor was dry and you wanted to sleep the night in the boat, no water's going to penetrate these scuppers to get through. Bait board, live bait tank, custom made to suit our Waveriders on the transom here. As you can see, the plumbing is so easy and straightforward and simple. This is your inlet. This is coming through from your pickup pipe down the bottom down here. You can see how neat that area is there. So that picks up there, brings it up into your live bait tank there. It has an overflow. This is an overflow here, plus it's also for the bait board, a wash down for your bait. All the slop and everything would come down through here. Underneath the corner here is the drain for the live bait tank. You can have a small pipe just to come out here. These are your two vents, your vent for your fuel tank and the vent for your fuel tank void, where your fuel tank is. So that's why there's two of those. This is a fuel filter bracket. If you wanted to put your fuel filter on there, there are other places where you can put it, but that's one place where you can put it there. Of course, over the side here, this is your bilge pump outlet coming out outside your boat, coming out onto this area here. Piece of great engineering here from Waveriders. This is our steps. You'll see that it'll close to fill in your step through transom. They're made of 4mm plate, and as you can see, they're robust. They're not going to break anytime soon. Coming up, closed, sealed, little strap over the top, and everything's done. Everything is complete. You can cop a wave over the back here, and it's like having a full transom. What a great idea.